What's up, everybody? Thanks for listening to the Whatcast, and welcome to this special report. Mike, I was actually late on putting out this week's episode. I didn't finish it today, but after we record this, I'm going to edit this and put this out first thing tomorrow morning.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, we'll save that other episode for next week. But something is coming to the news as far as UFO stuff. And Mike, we joke around with how you pretty much call a lot of stuff, but one thing that's happened is kind of something that you had said that actual disclosure would come about. It would be one of the ways that would actually happen, and it's through leakage.
You're making it sound dirty.
Leakage. I'm responsible for the UFO leakage.
Ew. Where did they touch you, Mateo?
In my mind hole.
Oh, the worst hole of all. God help us.
But there's been a leak that is supposedly, this could be the start of disclosure.
Maybe. Or it could be digging us deeper into the psyop.
Muddying the waters even more, dude. Oh.
Shitting right in those waters. Them some shitty waters there.
I just add some shit to that water.
I'm sure at this point, because during the recording of this, we're now towards the end of the week. But at this point, I would imagine most people are aware of David Grusch, and I'll just give a quick rundown for who he is for those who may have not been paying attention to what's going on with these UFO things. But it literally seems like every time I go online and look up stuff about this guy, there's new stuff coming out. Like this is a constantly evolving thing. So by the time this episode comes out tomorrow, it's likely there's going to be some more information out there already. So we're going to do our best and kind of talk about some of his stuff. And also in UFO news, there was a cool case out of Las Vegas that we'll get into towards the end of the episode as well.
Yeah, and I got to say with that case, I've already come across several different versions of the story.
Perfect. Wonderful. But getting back to David Grusch, for people that don't know who he is, he was a decorated former intelligence officer who worked for the Department of Defense UAP Task Force. While he was working with them, his job was to interview military personnel who were currently working or who had worked on black programs. He's saying that some of them may have been even illegal programs that were hidden from Congress oversight. And he's saying that during these interviews, he was being told about the people that he had interviewed told him that they had been part of a group that was studying advanced crafts that were made by unhuman hands. We'll say he's very hesitant to say that they are aliens from another planet. In a lot of the way that he words things, like at one point in his interview, he was asked if these are spacecraft, and he said something along, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, well, they're not exactly spacecraft, but yeah, let's just call them that. And at another point in time, he mentions that the military has recovered bodies. And again, he says, that maybe they're not aliens from outer space, but from a different dimension. So he keeps hinting to that, and it seems like that's where he's leaning more towards. But in 2021, he makes an official complaint to the Department of Defense Inspector General. He makes an official complaint regarding the existence of these illegal black programs, because if it's being done through the military, it should be done with Congress oversight. So this would be more of the stuff that we've talked about with like the military contractors rather than actual government officials, which I think is why you see a lot of high-ranking military members go into, once they retire from the military, they get high-ranking jobs for these military contractors or quote-unquote consultant jobs, So after he had filed this official complaint, his personal information was leaked. And for a while, he was harassed to keep his mouth shut, threatened. But in July of 2022, the Inspector General, who had been actually conducting the investigation, found that Grusch's complaint was, quote, credible and urgent.
Ooh.
So this was about a year ago that this was found. So Grusch began to provide hundreds of pages of documents from his interviews that he had conducted. And there's a lot of people that are trying to discredit him, but military personnel have come out in support of him, vouching for his credentials, vouching for him being, exactly who he says he is. And as soon as he came out with this, the Arrow team put out an official statement saying that while all of his credentials are real and they're not calling him a liar, it's they cannot verify whether the information he leaked was true or not. But during his leak, he actually says that a lot of the people he was interviewing with were not working with Arrow. So Arrow wouldn't even know about it.
Right. They got some pretty blatant little loopholes they're pulling here, leak this guy's information and then the harassment starts and then, just not be able to verify the stuff because that info wasn't gathered during their program.
Right.
Seems pretty easy.
But the former chief scientist for Air Force Space Command himself vouches for David Grusch.
No shit.
Yeah, he put out a post and he says, "I will vouch for the integrity of David Grusch. Getting to the bottom of this is elusive and problematic, to say the least." Yeah, so the chief scientist for Air Force Space Command has come out and vouched for what he's saying.
Okay, so far this is playing out like a dream come true. I mean, somebody leaking, well, not just, let me start that again. Somebody with some pretty insane credentials leaking something, and we'll talk about what he's leaking, but for this person to come out and then receive so much support from people with such cool and prestigious titles.
Yeah, they, there's no one who's saying that he's full of shit. So right out and also, so here's something that's a little bit weird. In order to put out this information officially, he had to speak with the Department of Defense and get permission to talk about certain things. So certain aspects of what he's discussing were actually cleared and approved to be discussed with the media at the end of April. And no one picked up on the story until, I think, Tuesday, the 6th. Or maybe it was Monday, the 5th. I don't remember which day it was, but it was News Nation that finally broke the story. But he had been approved to discuss this since late April. So I wonder what if the hesitation was on his side of things, or if it was hesitation from various news agencies to get involved in this shit show. I don't know.
Right. I wonder if people were hesitant to want to put out his story. Good point.
But I mean, now it's the story's being run by ABC News. It's a big deal now.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it, but Edgar sent us a message with the story. There's a few other people who sent us stories about Celesta, and Mike from the Text Files sent us some articles on the other story we're going to cover. So thanks to everybody who sent this to us. I hadn't heard about this at all, and I didn't get to check it out basically at all. I was doing some other stuff and then researching the other story. But I mean, you were pretty stoked on this guy's credentials? I mean, if this guy's being legit, how promising do you see this stuff? I mean, we'll talk about what he's leaking, but just from the information you gathered and the research you did, how stoked are you on this? I mean, of course, this could be disinfo, but just right out of the gate, how excited are you about this guy?
All right, so I've got more information on him, but I'm going to wait on that for a minute.
Okay, cool.
Initially, right out the gate, hearing of this dude's credentials, hearing what he has to say, to me, it sounds like a huge win for the UFO community. Shortly after, Jeremy McBeardo started getting behind him, which gives me pause, and I'll get into my reasons for that outside of Beardy McBeardenstein, but right out the gate, it's very, very interesting, and I think what he's bringing to the table is pretty compelling. So for anyone who hasn't been following this, I'll kind of give like I said, the information that's coming out from this it's like every couple hours there's new stuff that's coming out, or people talking about new aspects of the case, or things like that. So obviously, if this is something you haven't been following, I highly recommend checking out all the millions of videos and articles that are out there about it already. But like I said, the News Nation sources, they're the ones that broke the story. So it's probably where you'd want to start. And also the other cool thing about News Nation is they also had someone come on their show. Mick West came on the show who's a UFO skeptic, and he talked about his side. So it's not like News Nation is pushing this narrative as being, this is the way it is, period. Like they're showing both sides, which I think is pretty interesting. That they're not just running with aliens are real and that's what's up.
That's awesome. They're just running it like a regular story.
Yeah, exactly. But what he's putting out there is he's talking about the fact that there is a secret program that is working to study these things crafts, UFOs, whatever. I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Whatever these things are, he's claiming that we have, I believe he said that we've got like a dozen of them, which I think Bob Lazar said we had 9 or something. But he's saying that we've been recovering craft since 1933. Now, the craft he mentions was a UFO that had crashed in Italy. There was a bit of corroboration of this. There were these documents that appeared, I think they appeared sometime in the 90s, but they were alleged to have been documents to Mussolini about this cylindrical UFO that crashed near Milan, Italy. And apparently inside there were 2 human bodies that were around 1.8 meters long, and they had blonde hair and blue eyes. So, 1.8 meters long, it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 6 feet. So human-sized, blonde hair, blue eyes. So they probably thought they were fucking Nazis. But apparently, and Grusch didn't confirm that this was, in fact, the craft in question, but he referenced a crash in 1933 in Italy that was picked up by the U.S. And we've got these documents that are talking about a recovered craft with bodies from 1933. I've got some pictures of the documents I'll send you so you can put in the show notes, but it's, that's kind of cool that but again, if I think if you're going to do a PSYOP, using lesser known cases is probably a better way to earn the public's trust in what you're doing, rather than just being like, Roswell was the first crash where because everybody knows Roswell. Easy story to tell.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't start with that shit.
Yeah, but he's saying we've recovered numerous crafts. He said some of them have been crafts that have landed and some have been crafts that had crashed. And then he was asked about the body recovery, and he said, well, unfortunately, sometimes when a craft crashes, or if it lands, you end up having dead bodies to deal with. So it almost makes it seem like some of these crafts were fucking hijacked, and they took the pilots out, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, like, there was a recent clip that just came out where he was talking about a craft that we recovered that's the size of a football field.
What?
Which, I mean, that sounds huge and all, but think about the Phoenix Lights and how big those were thought to be, like a mile wide.
Yeah. I don't know. I may have mentioned this. I've been listening to a lot of Art Bell, and I got to listen to an episode to where they interview Linda Moulton Howell and people who were there when this happened. They just all call in and say what they saw. Very interesting to hear. I mean, it's like the next day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Big as a football field. Yeah.
Big as a football field, yeah. So, I mean, all this stuff sounds really cool, right? Like it sounds like we're on the brink of disclosure, and even caught the eye of the House Oversight Committee. After hearing this information, they are deciding that they're going to investigate the allegations, and they're going to hold a hearing on these claims. I don't necessarily think that that's going to amount to anything, because, as we all know, our federal politicians are all bought and paid for by these big companies, and a lot of these huge corporations either have ties or are secretly run by the same umbrella company that runs the military contractors. So I don't think that it would be too surprising to see them come back with no further information. Like, they'll probably come back after the investigation and say, after sufficient investigation, we were unable to verify any of the claims made by Mr. David Grusch.
Right. I mean, like, this David dude saying all this stuff is cool. Like you said, it's a big jump forward for the UFO community. But to hear that these people are going to investigate it, I'm expecting another, sorry, that's classified, sorry, that's classified, sorry, that's classified.
I'm not even expecting, sorry, it's classified. I'm expecting him to flat out say there's nothing to substantiate his claims.
Oh, wow.
We found nothing to, that's what I'm expecting, a full on, this guy's full of shit type of.
A straight up denial after all these people have come forward?
Yeah, the crazy, well, it could go one of two ways, right? So it could either go, they're going to completely drag this dude through the mud, and he'll be like Bob Lazar 2.0, or they're going to, either way, they're not going to find anything, but the other way could be like they found that there was a secret program or whatever, but they didn't have enough evidence to prove that it exists or something, you know, like maybe, oh, there was something weird, but we don't have enough information to say what was weird, and keep him around. And if they drag him through the mud, there's a good chance some of what he's saying is probably true. If they do not, after the investigation, drag him through the mud, then I think he's part of a psyop.
I see what you've done there.
Yes. So I can already hear a lot of people rolling their eyes, like, oh no, how could you say he's a psyop? Listen, here's the one thing that's being left out of a lot of his introductions and things like that. Like, they talk about who he is and everything, but there's a picture of him online holding, he's standing there with like a box with all his medals and patches and ribbons on it and stuff. And in that box is a patch for the Special Technical Operations. And the Special Technical Operations team was set up during the Cold War, and it's the highest level military focal point for all matters relating to what is called offensive information warfare. So let me say that again. Offensive information warfare. So basically, this group operates, they operate within the U.S. military, and they also work within dozens of special access or black programs. but these are the activities included in what they're involved in include United States hacking activities, strategic psychological concealment and deception operations, and also, quote, directed energy warfare. And what that means is they're special weapons that have different sort of capabilities, like high-powered microwave weapons or like EMPs, things like that. But the patch itself, if you look up Special Technical Operations Patch, it's literally a wizard standing in front of a crystal ball.
What?
Yeah.
Coolest patch ever.
I don't know, the giant octopus eating the earth is pretty awesome.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, this is a second for sure. But so again, this guy is involved in a group that's known for offensive information warfare. So I know I keep repeating that phrase, but think about what that means. This is offensive information warfare. So this is information being used to direct basically a story or think of it like militarized propaganda. That's basically what this is.
Yeah, I mean, the title says it. It's weaponizing information.
Right. So he's a member of this group, and now he's coming out as a whistleblower talking about UFOs and alien bodies, when for years, this stuff has been swept under the rug. And if he was giving out information that they didn't want him to give out, he wouldn't give it out. And there have been reporters, because he said he had to get this clearance, so there were reporters that looked into the clearance, and that's all verified. He did, in fact, get the clearance to talk about this. So a lot of people look at that as being confirmation that the government is trying to get this information out. But all that's really needed to get permission to talk about this, about, basically anything, is to prove that you will not be giving out any classified information or anything that could get in the way of national security. So he could be out there talking about having, being part of this group, talking to all these people and investigating it, and that could all be true. But then what follows, because it has nothing to do with national security or anything that's classified, all the information he's putting out from that point, they don't give a shit about, because it's none of it's classified. So he could be saying he talked to a being that was a fucking elephant with a banana for a face, and they'd be like, "Hey, go nuts talking about that fucking banana-faced elephant." We don't give a shit. You talk till you're blue in the face about it. It's nothing to do with national security, so get on with it.
That's weird for them to have that attitude, though.
But he did say some things, like I said earlier, he the way that he worded things and talked about things not exactly being spacecraft and maybe talking about other dimensional things. But there was a part in the interview where the reporter asked him if he was aware of any sort of like alien abductions or anything like that. And he said he can't get into any details about it because it's still classified. But he said all that he can say about it is that there were encounters with these beings that were considered malevolent.
Ooh, what a way to word that, so we got all the information we could out of that.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack with this.
There sure is.
It can go either way. And I wish all this shit happened like when we first started the show. We would have done a really terrible job covering it, but I would have been way more excited about it. At this point in my career as a researcher, I'm just seeing this shit repeat over and over and over and over and over. And the fact that they came out with not only a book, but a documentary called Mirage Men, talking about the Air Force's PSYOPs and the tactics they used to discredit the UFO community and UFO sightings. And then we're seeing the same shit repeated again, and no one is drawing the comparisons. It blows my fucking mind. Like, I don't understand, like, all these people, disclosure's coming, it's here, we're gonna see fucking aliens. No, we're not. We're not seeing fucking shit. It's gonna be the same shit that's been going on since fucking Roswell, or since Milan, Italy, whatever you want to. It's the same shit. It's been going on, and we're never going to know anything about it. And if anybody knows about it, they're never going to say a fucking word about it. We're just going to get muddied waters, and we're going to keep getting these little fucking breadcrumb trails that are going to, we think are going to lead us down the path to disclosure. But at the end of every breadcrumb trail, it's just a fucking brick wall. And like, oh, got you again, fucker. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I ate the breadcrumbs. I don't know how to get back now.
I mean, you might be, a little bit cynical with that, but I mean, it's completely.
Oh, I'll fully admit that. I will fully admit that I'm jaded by this stuff, and I wish I wasn't. Like, I want to hear this and be like, yes, fuck yeah, we're getting fucking alien disclosure, hell yeah. But instead, I can't. But also, guys, Stephen Greer, big event coming up. Who's excited?
Yeah, I've been hearing that guy talk on Art Bell as well, and I like that guy less and less and less.
Oh, God. I was like in probably, let me think, I would guess like 2005, 2006. I was such a huge fan of his. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, this guy knows what's up. He's getting, because he got like all the military whistleblowers and everything. And like, I really feel like in the early 2000s, he was doing good work, and he was like actually trying to get this information out. But I think he's very, I think he's a narcissist, and he became like the new face of disclosure and let that go to his head. So now he can charge fucking $10,000 for camping trips. And
yeah.
If you don't mind, could I go off on a little bit of a Stephen Greer tangent for a minute?
Yeah, we love Mike rants.
Okay, maybe I should do a Patreon special, just Mike rants.
Yeah, dude.
Every month you get a new rant from Mike about going off about how the chemicals in the water make the frogs gay. It'll be my own personal Alex Jones. But I was looking, I was reading some shit about Stephen Greer recently, and I kind of went down a mini rabbit hole with Stephen Greer, and I found this case from one of his trips, or his retreats. And for anyone who doesn't know, he does these retreats where they're typically overnight retreats where he teaches you how to communicate with aliens and summon their ships and develop psychic connections with them and everything. And when he says interact with aliens, he doesn't mean like they're going to come to your house and hang out. Like, it's like a psychic connection thing. But he always has like, all right, everybody, let's raise our vibrations and think welcoming, warm thoughts. And then when he sees them, and let's acknowledge that they're here and thank, it's like hippie bullshit. But there's this video that, like, cause a lot of the times he'll record these and put them out as being evidence or whatever. But there's this one video that came out that he's talking about these beings being there. And then you see this bright orange light just above the horizon. But before that happens, they've got all this recording equipment out, and this one guy was using night vision, and Stephen Greer specifically tells him, turn off your night vision. So he turns off his night vision, and then there's this big glowing light, and then like a minute later, another glowing light next to it. And so he's talking about how these glowing lights are alien craft, and he's like, watch, they're staying. He keeps saying they're maintaining their altitude, but you can clearly see that they're slowly falling. And then one goes out, and he goes, did you see that? It went right into the ocean. And then the other one goes out. And so he was saying that, those were UFOs that showed up because they called them and then they went into the ocean. But there was an investigator that looked into Stephen Greer's company the parent company, and then started looking into local, like, private flights. And he found this company that the only customer they had was Stephen Greer's parent company name. I can't remember the name of the company, but they rented this plane on this day to fly, I think it was like 14 miles off the coast of where they were stationed at the same time that this stuff was happening. And so at first they had called them and asked about if they had any flights in that area during that time period. And they said no. And then they said, we checked the flight logs and we saw that there was a flight that was, I guess, commissioned by this company. And from that point on, they didn't return any phone calls or respond to any requests for statements. So, surprise, surprise, it sounds like Stephen Greer is scamming people. But, I mean, shit, if you guys want to get scammed, you can pay him, it's like $1,500 for a camping trip. So, there's that. Or you could buy the CE5 handbook for like $5 and teach yourself how to do it. And, you know, figure out for yourself if his style of alien communication is legit or not, or if he's a blowhard narcissist that is full of shit and he knows it. I just think, like I said, I think he started out with the best of intentions, but because he's a narcissist, he let his ego get in the way, and now he's just like money, 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 money.
Yeah, this is a guy who it's easy to see to where something happened. Something definitely happened. He started off doing great work, and then it's either money or like he got paid off, bought off, or it just went to his head, which if you hear him talk long enough, that's exactly what happened.
But I mean, you just listening to him talk, you can tell he's a narcissist. Like there's one time he was talking about, like, it was, they have to do a pre-seminar before they go out, and he was talking about how they should think of, like, when they're trying to relax their body, just think of like leisure activities they do. And he's like, for example, think about bench pressing 400 pounds like I do. Like, was that, why, what's the fucking point in putting that out there? You know, like, we can see that you're fucking jacked. Do you really need to just throw out how much you bench press? Come on, dude. Fucking ridiculous.
Right. I'd be like, that makes me want to poop my pants, sir. That doesn't make me want to, if I imagine myself doing that. There's hernias. There's a bloody nose. There's a pungent odor of excrement. That's not going to make me relax.
Yeah, no. But he had to throw that out there. Had to throw it out there.
Yeah, that's a weird one, man.
Yeah. And he always does shit. Like, I remember listening to, like, his early stuff. And he, like, every single fucking presentation he gave, he always talks about how he's related to Thomas Jefferson and how he briefed the CIA director under Bill Clinton and all this shit like that. And the CIA director under Clinton said, we had a dinner and the subject came up, but it was far from being a debriefing. So, it's fucking Stephen Greer, man. I don't know. If he sees this, he's probably going to sue us and give us a cease and desist. And, then but if he does, it's proof that he's right. So for all you guys that heard this early on, check this in like a month to see if it's still there. And me saying this is my contingency that if it's removed, it's right. So the ball's in your court, Mr. Greer. The ball is in your court. Yeah, but that's all I've got to say on Stephen Greer for the moment. I don't want to talk about him all that much if I can avoid it.
Yeah, it was a good mic rant.
I've had better. Yeah, but like we said, that's not the only weird thing in UFO news that's going on.
No, not at all. Speaking of crashed UFOs.
Or landed.
Yeah, maybe that's a better description. I got sent this article all day. And again, there's a lot of reports on this, all with different info. But the most consistent story that I came across is that on May 1st, multiple reports, everything from large flashes of light to flying lights, came in from Eastern California, Nevada, and Utah. So this is something that was, I mean, there's Phoenix lights right there. 3 different fucking states observed this thing, that's pretty heavy, right?
Yeah. But it also, I mean, if it was observed by that many states, I think it's more likely that it was probably a fireball of some sort. But shit, let's for argument's sake, let's say it was a legit UFO, though.
Right. Let's do that. It'll make it more fun.
Yes. Right.
So this flying light was witnessed by many, many people, but funny enough, it was even caught on the body camera of a Las Vegas police officer. So we have an image of this light. And to me, it's a fucking UFO. It's 90% of UFO reports in one photo. Have you seen it yet?
I saw the body cam footage, but that's all I've seen.
Right. That's all that's available. So, but like I said, reports vary, but about 15 minutes later, Las Vegas 911 got a call that may change everything. Someone called 911 to report that something had fallen out of the sky and landed in their backyard. And the caller claimed that there were 2 10-foot tall, big-eyed, enlarged mouth, quote, 100% definitely not human beings standing next to whatever it is that had crashed in their backyard. So there is a 911 call that's been released, and it's fucking crazy, dude. We have audio of this call as the event happened. And I have some quotes here from this call. And this is after they had established, apparently, that something had crashed in their fucking backyard. But the caller says, this is from the caller, it says, quote, "There's like an 8 or 9 foot tall person beside it and another one inside of it." So there you go, Mike. Maybe it landed.
But now we need to know if the military killed the occupants.
Okay. And another one inside it. It has big eyes and it's looking at us. It's still there. The dispatcher says, "Okay, where is it on your property?" The caller, "In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified." The dispatcher, "So there's 2 people? There's 2 subjects in your backyard?" "Correct. And they're very large," the caller says. "They're like 9 to 10 feet tall. They look like aliens to us. They have big eyes. Big eyes like I can't explain. And a big mouth. They're shiny eyes. They're 100% not human." The dispatcher says, "Okay." So, like I said, some reports said, 15 minutes after this, but it looks like it was about an hour after they made this 911 call that Las Vegas Police Department reached the home where this caller was reporting this incident from. Did you hear the 911 call, Mike? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it sounded legit. It didn't sound like people fucking around. But, maybe someone's a good actor and they're like, "We saw that fucking fireball. Let's call the cops." But I love that the one cop who he's like, "I'm actually kind of nervous." When he showed up to the scene, like he was talking about how his heart was beating and he was kind of nervous now that they saw the fireball and now they're being called to an alien sighting.
Yeah, that's great. That's part of his body cam footage. He remarks that he's nervous to respond to this call as a fellow officer had told him about seeing this strange flying light. And now we're getting, "Now we're getting a call about someone seeing aliens in their backyard." But the body cam footage just shows him basically taking the report, what's been released anyway. It's just short clips put together. Something to note is that according to policy, the officer checks the backyard and it's all blacked out because that's considered private property. So we don't,
because there's goddamn aliens back there and
Yeah.
they were sworn to fucking secrecy. Little do we know that that cop and the fucking family hasn't been seen since. That's not what they're not reporting that. They're fucking gone, man. The house is gone. The alien took the fucking house.
the whole house.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's all we're getting. Somehow they were able to recover his body cam. That's all that was left on the scene. But they couldn't show what happened, so they had to just black it out. And they're like, no, that's policy. We got to block it out because it's private property and fucking... No, there's aliens. There's goddamn aliens. And they're fucking eating people's houses.
Yeah.
Why can't the Las Vegas Police Department just admit it?
Then,
bullshit.
Then nobody will move there, bro.
All right. Fair point. You won me over on this one. I support them fully. Lure innocent people into fucking alien infested places and have their houses get abducted. Just, no care or concern for the well-being of innocent people everywhere. Just feed them to fucking aliens.
Oh yeah, it's part of a big deal.
Next David Paulides book is going to be Missing 411 Vegas.
But the body cam footage shows the police officer just basically take the report of what the family saw. I know you saw that. That was very interesting footage. Everybody's in a very somber mood, somber tone of voice, and even their body language. People have their arms crossed. People seem confused. It's like 5 or 6 different people in this family that saw it. None of them young children. They all appeared to be adults. I saw a report where somebody took a drone and flew it over these people's house a day or 2 later. And I don't know if you saw that picture, Mike, but it shows some type of ring-like impressions in the backyard.
Oh, no shit. No, I did not see that.
Okay, I'll text it to you right now so you can, I don't know. It could be done by water. Who knows? That big gray patch is their backyard, and you can see what look like ring formations, wavy rings.
Yeah, I'm not buying that that's left by the UFO, because that would have, everyone in the area would have seen that fucker land.
Yeah, other people are reporting in that area seeing this.
Oh, light. Yeah. But I'm saying people would have seen that fucking thing land. Look at the size of those rings. Compare it to the fucking pool next door. Those things are the entire backyard, basically. That's definitely not from something landing. It's probably from fucking the fact that they're in the desert and they're trying to have a yard.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see what happens. This light, apparently, like I said, was seen over 3 states. There's very little reporting or information on it. Basically, what I told you, that's it. They don't even release the entire body cam footage. But the police officer actually sees a car driving by, and he stops and asks them if they had seen anything strange.
Yeah. He's like, I know this sounds weird, but have you seen anything fall out of the sky?
Yeah. And he even says, we wouldn't be investigating this, but we've had officers who saw it.
Yeah.
So he admits it on film that it was something there. It actually happened. So maybe we'll find out more through people investigating this as just a regular UFO sighting before we get to the alien sighting. I wonder if these people are going to disappear or continue to tell their story. I know a few people who live in Vegas, and I find it hard to believe that these people didn't have a ring system, even with a camera pointing in their backyard. I have a camera pointing in my backyard. Well, it's all very interesting. We'll see what comes of it, but it was strange to get this story the day that we're going to do a show on this guy who's leaking information on UFO crashes. But apparently this thing was gone when the officers got there. So maybe you're right. Maybe it landed and then took off again. We don't get the whole story from these witnesses. It's a couple words. I don't know why we don't get to hear every word that these people said about what they experienced. And I find that strange. I find that tabloidish.
Well, I already explained, Mateo. There's nothing else to explain here. They were all abducted and eaten by aliens.
And replaced by half-breed alien-human hybrid replicants.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no more story. That was the whole story. We did it for our YouTube channel. We apologize.
Yeah, but nothing to see here.
It is too early to tell. This is reported 20 hours ago. So we'll see what happens. But it's interesting. This is an alien sighting, a modern alien sighting. 2023, 10-foot tall, giant-eyed, giant mouth. I think that's weird. I wonder what that looked like. That had to be fucking creepy.
Yeah. I picture it looking like a tall gray. That's what it seemed like to me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that, not again. And that matches, what the description of a tall gray. So they're not just saying some weird mumbo jumbo shit. This is actually something that matches up with aliens that have been reported.
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
But we'll see on both accounts. It's pretty weird. Exciting stuff in the UFO world. We'll see what this hearing that's going to happen, what it entails. Like you said,
yeah. I mean, it's the fucking federal government we're talking about, though. So they say that this is something we need to have a hearing on and investigate. That means it could be another fucking year. I mean, remember when the Inspector General got a hold of it last year, he said that it was urgent, and we're only now hearing about it. So, who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to hold my breath for Congress to actually have a hearing. It'll happen when it happens, and I'm sure it'll be just like all this other shit where we don't really get a whole lot of anything.
Right. Only time will tell. We shall see.
I've never wanted to be proven wrong more in my life.
That's right. I want to be going to concerts being played by aliens by the end of the fucking year. Damn it!
Please, let's go.
We'll join up. We'll like start a band and have 2 aliens be in the group.
Well, what's gonna happen is they're just gonna fucking kick us out, and they'll run the Glib Norbin dickbag cast, and then, they'll replicate our voices and somehow hypnotize people into believing that we were always Glib Norbin dickbag, and no one will know the difference. We won't even be missed.
Yep, Mateo and Mike never was. Never was.
No, there was never. It was Glib Norbin dickbag. And that's just the way it goes.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.